Hi, this is Teacher Eve and welcome back to my channel. In this particular video, I will discuss textual evidences, how to determine textual evidences and use how to use textual evidences in formulating claims and counterclaims. Specifically, you will learn the definition of textual evidences, why are they important for a reader and or writer, and how to find them in a text. Another thing that I will focus on is how to use textual evidences to formulate claims and counterclaims. But before we proceed, let me share with you this mystery, Murder at School. Let me read for you. On the first day of school, someone murdered a history teacher. There were 4 people at the school that the police suspected had done it: the landscaper, a math teacher, a basketball coach, and the principal. These were their alibis. So the landscaper said he was outside mowing the lawn. The math teacher said he was giving a mid-year test. The basketball coach said he was running practice drills with his players. And the principal said she was in her office. After giving their alibis, the police arrested the killer immediately. So who killed the history teacher, and how did the police know? Pause for a while and think about this. Be sure to provide enough reason why you think the person is the murderer. So please write your answer and your proofs in the comment section so that we will be interactive here. I will not give the answer, but I will give you a clue. So please take note of the information provided at the beginning of the paragraph, at the first paragraph, and then compare that with the alibis given by the suspects. Okay, and then later on I will tell you why I showed this at the beginning of the lesson. So let us move on. So what are textual evidences? These are the information provided by the author to support the claims, the inferences, and conclusions in the text. So textual evidences reveal the view or the opinion of the author if it is not explicitly stated in the text. These details add clarity, strengthen the argument, and support the views of an author. So if you're the writer, you have to make sure that you provide enough textual evidence so that the readers will easily be persuaded by your arguments. On the other hand, if you are the reader, you don't just believe a person's views on face value. You have to look for proofs that will validate the views of the writer. Textual evidences also enable the claim of a writer to stand strongly, just like how the foundations of this bridge enable the deck to withstand tons of weight. So if you're a writer, you have to make sure that the evidences that you provide are strong enough to withstand the test of validity and reliability. So how do textual evidences help? What distinguishes good readers from poor readers is the awareness of the good readers that comprehension does not just involve the actual quote-unquote reading or decoding of words. In reality, making meaning out of the text is like solving the mystery crime that I gave you a while ago at the start of the video. So upon reading the puzzle, after I've read to you the puzzle, you may have an idea who the murderer was, and you go back to the text to look for clues, to look for evidences that will validate or invalidate your hypotheses. Poor readers, on the other hand, are not aware of this. They simply dive into the text without a goal in mind. In the same manner, If you are a writer, you need to be aware that you need to provide evidences that will support the claims that you write in your text. Hi, this is Teacher. It may not be enough to just provide one or two
In this particular
evidences.
video,
So it depends
I will
on the
discuss
complexity
textual evidences,
of
how to determine textual evidences
of your arguments and the nature of the subject that you present. Later on, I will show you what kind of textual support a writer can provide to help readers understand a text. So it also helps you make your ideas reliable and valid if you have a lot of evidences in your text. Why is this important? Why is this skill? Determining textual evidence is a very important skill. Of course, you read in all the subjects in school. All the subjects require reading, whether it's PE, it's music, aralin panlipunan, social studies, ESP, whatever subject you have in school, they all require you to read. So, and when you read, you are bombarded with a lot of ideas, and you don't just believe all of those. You have to make sure that the claims of the writer in the text that you are reading is valid and there is enough evidence to support their claim. So why is it important? Because finding textual evidence is a lifelong skill. So when you apply for a job, you won't be asked what is the theme of Harry Potter or of a particular novel, but you will be asked about your views about a certain topic. And you will also be asked to provide evidences. You will be asked to provide evidences why you believe a certain thing. When you buy a certain product, you also probably you most have seen or read its advertisement and you were convinced by it. That's why you are going to buy that product. Or you may want to convince your parents to raise your allowance. So you have to prove that you need one. You don't have to be in school to need this skill. You need this every day so you will not be gullible. Especially election time is coming. It's in probably next year. So candidates will be persuading us to believe that they are the perfect choice. So we need to be critical about this. So it's an everyday skill that we need. So since this skill is very important, we need to be able to know how to find it in a text. I modified Teacher Kat's YouTube video about this. On her lecture, she gave an acronym, Prove It, that will help us remember where to find possible textual evidences in a text. So each of these letters will help us remember. Okay, so for the first one, we can find textual evidences in the actual paragraph or passage. Of course, that's where the writer would write everything, most probably, so you have to check first the paragraph or the passage. Second, you have to take note of the references that the writer may give. You can use that. You can check the references, the sources that the writer gives to validate the opinion of the writer, or to check for confusion that you may have. So you can check for the references provided by the writer. Of course, if the writer provided or offered support, meaning there has to be a connection between the claim and the evidences. And a good writer knows that he or she cannot just put these two in the text. There has to, the writer should know how to connect these two, to offer support in connecting these two so that it will be easier for the readers to make the connection. So the writer has to make the connection. It has to be very obvious. Okay, another thing that can provide textual, where you can find textual evidence is when the writer says that I believe in this, I think that I think that it is this way or something, or I agree with so and so. So the view of the author can be a textual evidence. Another thing is that if it is explicitly stated that these are, for example, the writer says, I believe in this for 3 reasons. So that's explicitly stated. You don't have to look for it anymore. But sometimes it is implicitly stated. So you have to know what are your clues that can help you infer that this is the idea of the writer. This is where the writer puts the his or her views, and these are the evidences that he or she presented. And lastly, we can find textual evidences in text features. Text features are specific parts of the text that can help a reader better understand the text. They highlight important information that a reader needs to achieve comprehension. So these include, text features include, but not limited to, the title. Of course, when you see the title, that can help you right away. Sidebars. Sidebars are bars or a square or rectangle at on the side or sometimes at the bottom of a page that contains a very important information that sometimes or most of the time summarizes the entire content of the passage. So you know that what is in that sidebar is very important. Sometimes the writer puts some sentences or a word in bold letters or in italicized style, because those are important to point to you or to direct you that, oh, these are important things. So those are text features. So you can find textual evidences in those in these things that I have mentioned. So let's take a look at this example. Let me read to you this paragraph from Hunger Games. When I was younger, I scared my mother to death. The things I would blurt out about District 12, about the people who rule our country, Panem, from the far-off city called the capital. Eventually, I understood this would only lead us to more trouble. So I learned to hold my tongue and to turn my features into an indifferent mask so that no one could ever read my thoughts. Do my work quietly in school, make only polite small talk in the public market, discuss little more than trades in the hub, which is a black market where I make most of my money. Even at home, where I'm less pleasant, I avoid discussing tricky topics like the reaping or food shortages or the Hunger Games. Prim might begin to repeat my words, and then where would we be? So in this paragraph, the author provided us a glimpse of what was going on in the mind of the main character. If I were to ask you to describe the personality of the main character, how would you respond? Okay, you would probably say that she has matured, not just physically, but also in showing her concern. So at the beginning, she was very aggressive, but later on, she has learned to protect her family by being discreet about her thoughts and opinion. And then what evidences can be given to support that statement? Sentence number 1 tells about the reaction of the mother which led her to conclude sentence number 2. Then from sentence number 3 up to the last, gave us details as to how she transformed from being careless about blurting out her opinions to being very careful. You can also say that she is secretive and careful at the same time. Sentences 4 to 9 show ways she employs to mask her real self. So now let us move on to how to analyze evidences. So if you're a reader, how will you analyze the evidence presented by the author? So if you're a writer also, how will you, this segment can help you because you know how your readers will judge the evidences that you present. So number 1 is check for the point of view of the author. What is the claim of the author? What is he or she trying to prove in the text? So you have to identify what is the claim of the writer. And then number 2, you have after identifying the claim, you have to check for the evidences. What are the specific facts that the author gives?
This is Teacher
to support
Eve,
the
and
claim?
welcome
Are
back
there
to my
facts in the
channel.
first place? Are there
In this
evidences?
particular
And if there are
video,
evidences,
I will
what are
discuss
kinds of
textual
evidences are
how to
these?
determine
So,
textual evidences,
You
and
have to take note.
textual evidence
Is the evidence
formulating
sufficient?
claims and
So it's
counterclaims.
not enough that there is an evidence.
Specifically,
You
will
also
learn the
to
definition
check
of
if the
textual
evidence
evidences.
presented is
Why are they
enough,
important
is sufficient.
for a reader
So
and
if you're
or
a writer and you can add more evidence if you think it will be easier for your readers to be persuaded if you add more evidences, so that can help you. So check so this one is helpful both as a reader or as a writer. Another thing that you can check about the evidence is that if the evidence presented is relevant. So it's really, is it really about the claim that the author wants to prove, or did they go off on tangent, meaning the provided facts don't have anything to do with the claim? For example, your claim
Later we
is
would be discussing
that
as well.
AstraZeneca
Okay, now let's
vaccine
describe
is
what
better
text
than
features
Sinovac. And then the proof that you gave is that because AstraZeneca is used in more countries compared to Sinovac. Although you have presented an evidence, it is not relevant because it always doesn't follow that if it is used in many countries, it is always the better choice. So again, this is just an example. So if you're a reader, make sure that the claim and the evidence presented is relevant to that claim. If you are the writer, you have to double check that the facts.
If you're like me and you really want to be efficient when it comes to writing and editing your papers, I definitely recommend that you download Grammarly, your own digital.
The third thing that you need to ask about your evidence is the evidence representative? Meaning,
what's going on? My name is Jared Munoz, and I'm going to take you through an instructional
it's typical
on
the
how to
population.
pair your
is not
videos or media
distorted and not
files
just a
with
select
PowerPoint
piece.
presentation slides.
Say for example,
This
your
is for
claim
my business
again is
administration project,
AstraZeneca is
my
better
Web
than
2.0
Sinovac.
project, and basically I was looking for this a few weeks
and
ago,
then
couldn't find anything on YouTube, so
supporting evidence
I'm going
that
to go ahead and
gave
help you
is
guys
that,
out as well as get this
you
project
have
done at the same
3
time.
friends who
So
suffered
here it is.
serious side
This
effects
is
with Sinovac.
basically, first you're going to need a movie maker. Basically what this is,
no
this
one
is
from-
the
no-
Wondershare Filmora. It's right
nobody
here.
from-
I'll have
from
a
your
link
friends
in the
suffered,
description below if you want to download it.
suffered
There's a
those
$32
side
3-month
effects.
subscription for it. That basically takes the watermark out
had
of the video whenever you go to
AstraZeneca.
export it. If you guys can find something that's
This
cheaper
experience,
or
the experience of the 3 of your friends
or
is
as a
not
less subscription
is
or
not
whatever, or doesn't put the
representative
watermark
of
in
the
it,
very big population
don't hesitate
of
to comment
people
below, and then
who had
I'll look at it and try to
AstraZeneca
put it
and
in like
Sinovac.
another video or
Many
something like that later
writers fall
on.
into this
But basically with this,
trap
we're gonna start by importing
because they wanted to prove
a
their
file.
own biases.
So we're gonna
They
import our media
already
file.
have their own
Mine's on my desktop,
views, they
so
have
this
their
right
own
here.
opinion about something, and then cherry picks. What do we mean by cherry picking? You select facts that will prove your opinion, and then if one fact or one evidence will not support your opinion, you do not include that, and then get only the evidences that will support your claims. That's cherry picking. In fact, that should be the other way around. When you make your claim, you have to make conclusion based on the evidences presented to you. You don't cherry pick. You don't have a claim and then get only the things that will support your claim. It's the other way around. Again, you have to check, you have to verify the evidences, and then from these evidences you make conclusion. In fact, in research, we are asked to triangulate, meaning you have to look for other sources. You don't just look at one source to validate your hypothesis. You look for at least 3 sources so that your belief or your hypothesis, your conclusion will have a very strong foundation. So these are the things, again, the 3 things that you need to ask yourself when you're checking your evidences. Is it sufficient? Is it relevant? And is it representative? So the next question that we need to answer is how to incorporate evidences in the text. So first is by paraphrasing or summarizing the ideas of several authors that you have gathered, and then you put them all together to support your claim. So of course, when you paraphrase, you put your own ideas. You put the ideas in your own words. For example, you think that the Philippines is now ready to hold face-to-face classes this coming school year. Then the evidences that you gathered are from the report of the DepEd, the report of the Department of Health, and the announcement or the memorandum from the local
I'll click on that one
government.
and open it.
You will
And then
summarize
it's
or
going to
paraphrase all
download that
of
real
these
quick, and
things
it's going to put it right there.
in your
And
own
so
words,
then
and
you're just going to grab your
that
media
is
file,
already
and then you're just going to drag it down to this kind of
a claim and
this kind of first media
the
section right
evidence.
here.
Later on, I will
It's
show
going
you
to
how
open it
to
up
do
and
this.
put it all out and space it all out the way it's supposed to be. So that's kind of how that works. And then
So when you
with
paraphrase, let me
your
just give some
PowerPoint,
clarification or some
so
tips.
that's right here.
When you paraphrase, do not just change some of the words with synonyms, because that is still considered as plagiarism. What you can do is you need to change the voice of the sentence, meaning if the original is in active voice, your paraphrase should be in the passive voice. Another thing that you can do is to change the focus of your paraphrase. Let's say,
Hello everyone, this is Ken from Indigo Collab. So today we're gonna do a step-by-step tutorial on how to record yourself while doing a PowerPoint presentation. Of course, in this day and age, you need to learn how to adapt and innovate to the new normal, while also taking advantage and maximizing the available technology. So from time to time, you need to do presentations using the internet as a medium. So how do you do this? If you're doing this for a select audience and you're doing it live, you can easily use software applications such as Zoom or Google Meet, where you can easily share your screen. Doing this for multiple audience different times, you might as well record yourself and the PowerPoint presentation. So how do you do this? Well, you can use video editing software where you can take a video of yourself while also recording your PowerPoint presentation and do the editing yourself. But this is assuming you already know basic editing, okay? But if you're not a techie person like me and you don't have to go through the editing process, how do you do this? How do you do what I'm doing right now? Wherein I talk and I can easily shift the slides like this.
They are all
Okay,
oriented to
so
follow
how do I do this?
protocols
I'm using
face-to-face classes.
a software
Other
application
things
called
embed like
OBS.
a
So I'm gonna show you.
POH
First, you just have to open your browser and then search for OBS. And it will be the first suggestion. It's called Open Broadcaster Software. So just click on it and then click whatever you're using. So I'm using Windows, I just click Windows.
Then the last thing is that
And then it will automatically download itself. So you just have to
personnel to
save it.
strictly monitor.
Okay, it will take some time since it's a huge file, so just be patient and wait for it to finish downloading. Now, obviously, I already downloaded it in the past, so I don't have to wait for it.
So you have to write your claim and then
So after it's done downloading, you just click on the installer file, or you can go to wherever.
you can incorporate your evidences in the text is by using the exact words of an author or an expert or an authority. There are different guidelines as to how an author can can write quotes. So you should know if you're writing, you should know whether you need to follow the APA style, the MLA, or the Chicago style in writing, because there are minor differences in the way these styling guides prescribe quotations. Okay, the last way by which you can incorporate your evidences in the text is by reference. You direct the readers to specific sections in the text. Let's say when you give them a clue that the next you give them a clue that we will be presenting evidences. For example, in the last sentence, in the previous paragraph, if you look at the previous example, if you look at the data, if you check the research of so and so, so those are referencing. So those are the ways by which you can incorporate evidence in the text. As cited in something in blah, blah, blah. So those are the ways. Of course, when you cite your sources, those are the ways by which you can incorporate evidence. So this one is an example. Let me read to you first. So it is a good idea. Again, let me make my disclaimer. This is just a made-up claim and evidences. I just made this up just for the sake of this lecture video. So it is a good idea to hold face-to-face classes this coming school year because of 3 reasons. First, the Department of Education through Secretary Leonor Briones announced that 100% of our personnel are vaccinated. Second, the Department of Health reported that 95% of Filipinos are vaccinated already and that they are sure to cover the remaining 5% within the next month before classes start. Lastly, the local government units in the nation guaranteed that they have enough personnel to strictly monitor each school for compliance, as stated in their Memorandum Number 29 Series of 2021. This is an example of a claim with evidences. The sentence highlighted in orange, the first one, is the claim, while the remaining sentences are the evidences. I used here a direct quote, a made-up direct quote, incorporated in a sentence. It's in the yellow, highlighted in yellow, and I referenced using, this is highlighted in green, as cited in their Memorandum Number 29 Series of 2021. So I referenced, I used this one as my reference. So this is a claim. There's a claim here, and there are 3 evidences. So there are, if you have at least these 3, you're good to go. So what I have highlighted in this video is is the definition of textual evidences, why are they important, where to find them, and then how to incorporate evidences in your paragraphs, and how to evaluate evidences presented to you. So hopefully you have learned something from this video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.